from California, rapper A$AP Rocky declines a plea deal on the eve of the start of his trial. The rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, is charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. The deal would have sent him to jail for 180 days, but he now faces up to 24 years in prison if he's convicted by a jury.
In and of itself does not mean that your client is guilty. That's the way we're going to deal with this, and that's the final ruling. I don't want to hear anything more about it. That's the end of the issue for now. Are both sides ready for the jury?
Rocky's trial has officially begun, and Robin is losing it. Word on the street is that poor Rihanna looks heartbroken because her boyfriend, baby daddy, and practically her husband might miss their kids' birthdays for the next 20 years. Yes, guys, A$AP Rocky's trial is underway, and it's already turning into a circus. From the judge allegedly flirting with Rocky's mom, to witnesses dropping bombshells in court, and Rocky's lawyers making some unexpected moves that have completely blindsided the prosecution. But that's just the beginning. The prosecution offered Rocky a plea deal where he would plead guilty to just 1 count of felony assault. In return, he would get a suspended sentence, meaning no jail time, just anger management classes and community service. But Rocky turned it down. Now the internet is completely divided. Some say he just passed up a golden opportunity, while others argue that the deal made no sense because Rocky is innocent in the first place. And then there's the Tory Lanez comparison. People are saying that if Tory got 10 years, things aren't looking good for Rocky either. But is the case really that stacked against him? And what role does Rihanna play in all of this? Let's find out. For those who aren't up to speed, A$AP Rocky is currently on trial for allegedly shooting at his friend A$AP Relly, who is actually a member of Rocky's own A$AP crew.
Wait, am I taking a stand at all?
You'd think this case would be pretty straightforward. Either Rocky did it or he didn't, case closed. But this situation has more twists and turns than a daytime soap opera. For starters, people on the internet are questioning why there's even a case in the first place. It all began when A$AP Relly and A$AP Rocky got into a fight because Relly believed Rocky didn't pay for the funeral expenses of one of their crew members who had passed away. For context, before A$AP Rocky became the global superstar we know today, he was part of the A$AP Mob, a collective formed in 2006 in Harlem, New York City, consisting of rappers, record producers, music video directors, and fashion designers. Their signature was adding A$AP before their names, hence A$AP Rocky, A$AP Ferg, A$AP 12y, A$AP Relly, and so on. Since Rocky became the most famous and likely the richest member of the group, he naturally became the face of A$AP Mob. This also meant that other members expected him to step up financially when necessary. So, in 2021, when one of their members passed away, many assumed Rocky would cover all, or at least some of the funeral costs. But Relly believed Rocky had turned his back on the crew and didn't contribute. Relly decided to confront Rocky, leading to a heated argument just a block away from the iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame. At some point during the altercation, Rocky allegedly pulled out a firearm and aimed it at Relly. CCTV footage captured parts of the incident. It shows Rocky and Relly getting physical, someone stepping in to break them up, and then Rocky briefly pulling out a weapon before tucking it away. Reddy reported that Relly, the altercation didn't end there. He claims that Rocky pulled out the firearm again and allegedly opened fire, grazing Relly's knuckles with a bullet. Relly says he eventually received medical attention when he flew back to LA. But here's where things get suspicious. Reports state that he didn't go to the police until several days after the incident. Now, logically speaking, if you get shot at and actually hit, the first thing you do is seek medical help and report it to the authorities immediately. But waiting days to do both? That definitely raises some red flags. Rocky's legal team is using this as evidence to cast doubt on the accusations, arguing that if Relly was truly a victim, he wouldn't have delayed taking action. To make things even murkier, the best footage available from that night is blurry and incomplete, failing to capture the full incident clearly. So basically, both the prosecution and the defense are relying heavily on witness testimonies. And so far, the prosecution's star witness, A$AP Relly, isn't exactly convincing anyone that Rocky shot him. In fact, Rocky's fans are convinced that Relly isn't just a jealous ex-friend, but also a snitch. The fact that he had a dispute with a fellow A$AP Mob member and instead of handling it privately went straight to the police has fans calling him a rat. Rocky's lawyers are also using this as part of their defense. During the opening statement, Rocky's attorney, Joe Tacopina, argued that this case is all about jealousy and greed. He stated, "This case is about one man's jealousy, which lies in greed. This case is all about money, a clear attempt at extortion, period, end of story." But that's not even close to being the biggest controversy in this trial. As mentioned earlier, the trial began on Friday, January 24th, and the jury selection has already sparked outrage online. The jury consists of 7 women and 5 men, but not a single one of them is black. Fans are questioning how that's even possible, considering that both the accused and the alleged victim are black, and the trial is taking place in Los Angeles. How did not a single black person make it onto the jury for such a high-profile case? Even Reverend Al Sharpton has weighed in on the issue, expressing concern over the lack of diversity in the jury. He stated, "I have been closely in touch with A$AP Rocky's friends, and though I do not know the particulars of the trial, I do know he deserves to be judged fairly by his peers, as is his constitutional right. It is absolutely ridiculous that the jury will not be fair and representative, depriving A$AP Rocky of a fair trial. When we have black people in Los Angeles, yet 0 among the first 30 possible jurors, something is clearly wrong with the system. But things get even weirder when you look at the police investigation. When Relly finally reported the incident, the police went to the scene to investigate, but they found no evidence that a shooting had taken place. There were no shell casings, no physical proof of gunfire. However, after the police had already completed their search, Relly mysteriously returned to the scene on his own, and, wouldn't you know it, he magically found shell casings, which he then turned in as evidence. So the police, who are literally trained to look for things like this, couldn't find any shell casings. But somehow, Relly, days later, conveniently discovered them? Yeah, that's a hard story to sell to a jury. But what really left fans confused was Rocky's decision to reject a plea deal. Right now, Rocky is facing 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and if convicted, he could be looking at up to 24 years in prison. So, when the prosecution offered him a plea deal, many assumed he would take it. The offer required Rocky to plead guilty to 1 count of felony assault, serve 6 months in jail, receive a 7-year suspended sentence, 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and complete anger management classes. Despite the risks, Rocky turned it down, leaving everyone wondering whether he's confident in his innocence or just gambling with his future.
You a little nervous about the trial? How you feeling about the jury selection today?
Our cameras caught A$AP Rocky this morning headed into and leaving an LA court as jury selection began in his felony trial. The 36-year-old, who faces 24 years in prison if convicted, has pleaded not guilty, and today he rejected a plea deal offer of 180 days in jail, saying, quote, "I respectfully decline."
Are you concerned about rejecting?
Many people believe Rocky should have taken the plea deal, considering that 6 months in jail, most of which could be avoided with good behavior, is a much better option than facing up to 24 years behind bars. Plus, as long as he didn't violate the terms of his probation or commit another crime, he wouldn't have to spend any time in jail at all. However, others think Rocky made the right choice in rejecting the deal. If he's truly innocent, he deserves his day in court. But beyond that, fans argue that accepting the plea would effectively end his career. A source close to Rocky told TMZ, this would effectively end his career because he would lose all of his endorsement contracts, including Gucci, Puma, and the Met Gala. Most importantly, he wouldn't be able to tour, and his career would be over. The source added that the deal would keep Rocky under strict legal supervision for over 8 years, making it a long-term burden. On top of that, pleading guilty would put a felony assault charge on his record, which could have serious consequences down the line. So while it might seem like a good deal compared to 24 years, if there's even a chance that Rocky can walk away with a clean record and no jail time, then rolling the dice in court starts to make sense. And from the way the trial has been unfolding, it actually looks like the odds might be in Rocky's favor. But just when things seemed messy enough, the case took a major plot twist. Rocky's defense team is now claiming that there wasn't even a real gun involved, that it was actually a prop gun. Rocky's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, told the jury that Rocky did fire something, but it was a starter pistol, a non-lethal firearm that makes noise but doesn't shoot actual bullets. He explained that Rocky had purchased the starter gun as a form of self-defense after being targeted in a previous attack and dealing with a stalker. According to Tacopina, Rocky fired it twice, hoping the sound alone would scare Relly off and protect his friend, who was present during the altercation. However, the prosecution wasn't having it. They fired back with a ballistics report claiming that Rocky fired a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. To strengthen their case, they even played a 911 call from a woman who claimed she witnessed the shooting and displayed a photo of the gun they believe Rocky used. But here's the catch. When police raided Rocky's house after his arrest, they did find firearms, but all of them were legally registered. The 9mm semi-automatic pistol, the supposed weapon in the case, was nowhere to be found. So where did it come from? According to the prosecution, it came from Rocky. And that's when they blindsided his defense team by suddenly introducing a ballistics report that allegedly proves Rocky fired a real gun at Relly. Rocky's legal team immediately objected, arguing that they had no prior knowledge of this report and needed time to review it before the trial could proceed. But instead of delaying the trial, the judge made a shocking decision. Rocky has just 1 day to get an expert to review the ballistics report. The court even agreed to pay for the expert, but the message was clear: this bombshell evidence wasn't going to slow things down. Now, some fans are wondering if Rocky should have taken the plea deal after all. Many are even drawing comparisons between his case and Tory Lanez's trial. The similarities are hard to ignore. Tory was convicted in December 2022 on 3 felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. This was after he allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. At first, Tory seemed to have the upper hand. His team launched a smear campaign against Megan, and he played the role of a devoted, God-fearing father. But it all backfired, and he ended up sentenced to 10 years in prison. However, Rocky's case is different in several key ways. For starters, Tory shot a high-profile celebrity, whereas Rocky allegedly shot a lesser-known member of his crew. Tory also had strong evidence against him, including Megan's testimony and medical reports. Meanwhile, the evidence against Rocky is shaky at best. Plus, there's a huge difference in public perception. Tory burned a lot of bridges by attacking Megan's character, whereas Rocky is seen as a fashion-forward, cool-headed artist married to Rihanna, a superstar billionaire. Even his legal history plays in his favor. While Rocky has had run-ins with the law before, his PR team works overtime to keep his image clean. Unlike Tory, Rocky isn't widely associated with violence, gang activity, or reckless behavior. In fact, the judge himself seems to be a fan. Sure, the judge tried to maintain a professional stance, saying Rocky wouldn't get special treatment because of his celebrity status, but at the same time, he was openly flirting with Rocky's mom in court, on the record. At this point, the only thing certain about this trial is that it's far from over. And with so many unexpected twists, anything could happen next. While Rihanna and Rocky have been putting on a brave face in public, sources say that behind the scenes, Riri is not doing well with the stress of this case. She's been feeling the pressure since day one, especially back in 2022, when she was heavily pregnant and the case first made headlines. That year, she and Rocky were ambushed at the airport by LA police as part of the investigation. The couple had just returned from a vacation in Barbados when officers stopped them at the airport and arrested Rocky on the spot. The entire situation was overwhelming for Rihanna, and according to insiders, it left a lasting impact. At the time, sources close to her revealed that she suffered anxiety attacks due to the intense stress of the arrest. She was even worried that the emotional toll might trigger early labor. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But now, as Rocky faces trial, she's once again dealing with the weight of it all. Balancing her career, taking care of their kids, and supporting Rocky through this high-profile case would be overwhelming for anyone, even someone as powerful as Rihanna. And now that the judge has allowed cameras inside the courtroom, every twist and turn of this case will be broadcasted for the world to see. What do you think about Rocky's trial? Is he being set up, or does the evidence prove he's guilty? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And while you're here, check out our next video. It's a must-watch.